Well, a warm welcome to you all. This is our Friday Carnivore Conversations Live. I'm JJ. I am a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat beef, bacon, butter, eggs, and coffee and flavored LMNT. The list keeps growing. Every time I'm like, and chocolate cupcakes and Twinkies.
But that's kind of okay. I mean, you weren't saying I am doing beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, period, and coffee for the rest of my life. That was never the plan.
I have not added the cupcakes and the Twinkies. Just I was making a joke there. Let us know where you're from and say hello in the chat. I have been doing time-restricted eating now for, a week maybe?
About that, maybe, yeah.
I lose track of time. JJ is the official rememberer of this channel.
It's been a couple weeks then. I had to think back to how does this affect me? No, I've been shifting my cooking meal for about 2 weeks.
So I'm eating breakfast and then we're having dunch, which is lunch and dinner combined. And you're eating a later breakfast?
I am eating sort of a brunch. I'm eating a brunch usually around 10 or 11. And then we're eating dunch usually between 1 and 2-ish, sometimes 3.
Okay. Well, the reason I did it was because I had eliminated all these like dairy out of my diet. And she was cooking dinner, these beautiful roasts and steaks and things. And I would eat 3 or 4 bites and be like, oh, I'm kind of full. So my satiety signals had kicked in full blast and we were wasting a lot of food.
Yeah.
So,
I can't eat all the leftovers. I try to eat all the leftovers.
So with the change that I made when I eliminated that stuff, I immediately broke through my plateau, but it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't like I lost 5 pounds immediately. But once I went to time restricted eating, I'm down 3+ pounds from my plateau. Mm-hmm. And it's not like I have a huge amount to lose. No. So a couple of days ago, I woke up and I was down like 7. And it turned out I was massively dehydrated. And I was a little nervous about that. And so I got more salt and I drank a lot more water and I started to feel a little bit better. But that's evened out. And so I've locked in 177. Nice. I'm 6 foot even.
Nice.
So I'm feeling good about that. Not that I am super focused on losing weight. My focus is, number 1, on how I feel day to day. I want energy, peace, contentment, and positive mood like JJ has 99.1% of the time.
That's about right, I'd say.
She's pressed her limits on that the past couple of days because she has travel coming up.
I have travel coming up, but also last weekend we have a huge remodeling project happening. We bought a second property a couple years ago, and the house is being remodeled, and I was just done with the project.
Oh.
But I was done.
So if you've ever been through a home renovation, it's exciting, it's stressful, and then eventually gets to a point where you're so over it, you don't even care what decisions need to be made. You don't even care what the decision is. You just want it done.
But it was funny because the next day we went and visited the property because I did not for a couple days. I could not. And because I was seeing just everything that still needed to be done and everything that was wrong in my eyes, and it was just bad. And that next day when we went, I was like, oh my gosh, look, they got the fixture in. Oh my gosh, look at that. That looks good. Oh, so it was like a 180 right away.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. There was one individual who is part of the construction crew who we talked to about Carnivore some weeks ago. And he looked into it. I think he watched a Dr. Barry, but I don't think he actually got on board. And part of that was because it didn't sound like his spouse was keen.
Yes.
And that's a common theme that we see in comments here and on other YouTube channels is it's difficult to start for yourself if you have a spouse who's like, no, that's a recipe for disaster. Or 2, you can't have common meals together because you're just not eating the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the things I'm extraordinarily grateful for is that we get to do this together and share it all with you guys. So I saw in the comments already, one of you saw us on Dave Mack's great YouTube channel. That was really fun.
That was great. Yeah.
We knew that was coming up, but we did not know how quickly it would go from us recording that to it being live on his channel.
Dave is a machine.
He does not waste time.
Oh my gosh. You probably, if you follow him, which if you don't, I recommend that you do. He's no carb
life.
Yes.
On YouTube.
And he is turning out most days he's turning out like 2-3 videos. And now we see his production schedule is such a quick turnaround. We finished with him about, is amazing.
You might think hearing her talk about the cattle industry might be a little boring, but it's not at all, because we don't spend a lot of time on the boring parts of it. And in fact, we get into some of the controversial sides of it, and we get a very strong insight from her about some of the issues happening in the cattle industry right now.
Now, I know she has done interviews with people. I know Kelly Hogan as well, she's done interviews with. Yet I have not heard an interview like this that covers all these topics in any other carnivore channel at this point. Now, again, she might have done it before, but I have not seen it. So it's really neat.
So we're looking forward to sharing that with you. I still have some editing to do on that.
Yeah.
Because it's an hour-long interview. And so you'll see that Sunday morning. Let's move on. Oh, so let's check in with the chat.
Yeah, let's.
We have Lisa Green. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello again,
Happy to see you
Lisa.
back here today. Jeepin' It Real from South Dakota. Hi.
Hello.
I think Amanda is from South Dakota.
Yes, she is.
Hope Parrish. Really enjoyed interview with Dave Mack, watching from 50 minutes east of Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Hello, Hope in Canada.
50 minutes. So now I've got to do kilometers per hour math because it's Canada. So I have no idea where that is.
But we know Vancouver.
But didn't we drive from Banff or something across the mountains to, what was it, Yoo-Hoo? British Columbia? I can't remember what it was called.
We did do something. I can't remember either. But
the mountains were really steep and kind of menacing.
Yes. Yes. We got married in Alberta, Canada. And so we've been there, is it 3 times?
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah. To that specific area.
area.
Jewel says, hi from Grand Blanc, Michigan.
Hello.
Hello, Michigan. How's the weather over there across Lake Superior? It's beautiful here today. Elva, hi JJ and Eric. So glad I am able to catch this live. I am watching from Texas. Hi, Elva.
Well, we have.
Or should we say howdy?
We have a shipment coming from Texas pretty soon.
Spoiler alert.
No, okay. You didn't hear that.
We do have a shipment of beef coming from Texas. And we will have more information on that during the Amanda interview, but also we'll do another video about that whole experience.
Yes.
And we'll do a taste test when the day comes.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Elva.
Let's see. I don't know how to pronounce it. Ute said Lastek.
Hello, Germany. Hello.
Sorry about the name. I've been watching some of the Olympics, and I'm amazed when the announcers can pronounce the names correctly for some of the spellings that are not usual to my eyeballs.
We are here in like little German land here in this part of our country.
Yeah.
And I certainly have a lot of German in my ancestry.
Yeah, you have the Junker.
I have the Junker, and I have which I'm probably not pronouncing correctly. And I have Heinz too, I believe.
Oh yeah?
I believe that's
57 varieties.
Yeah. And spelled 57 different ways.
Yeah.
So doing genealogy is really fun with Heinz.
Alan, always love your videos. Salad is still toxic. Hi, Alan.
It still is.
I haven't had any lettuce recently because I know that you'll disapprove.
I have not either. Now, it's not like I've ruled it out because I still have that one lunch place, but I haven't had it recently. So, yeah.
Let's see. Joss K. Can you talk about how you break your 48-hour fast? You mentioned the fasting on Dave Mack's channel. Okay, Jay.
That is a good question. So when I know you've done longer term fasting, so you may want to mention that. But generally speaking, I am a seasoned intermittent faster, which means I usually have an eating window of about 6 hours a day. But my understanding is that when it's like 48 hours or less, you don't have to generally be that careful with it. So for me, I've not had to break it in any specific way. As a matter of fact, I usually break it with a big old steak and some beef fat on the side. So for me, it has not been a problem because it's just not a long enough length of time.
So yeah, on the longer fast, they do recommend that the refeed be gradual and incremental.
Mm-hmm.
And many times they'll say something, have like a banana or a bowl of
They do say
fruit.
that.
It's like, well, that's not what we're going to do. But I'm no expert, but I know that is you get like 36,
I think around
not
3-day
36.
mark.
What's
The 3-day mark.
48, 36 is less than 48.
72?
Math. That's not even math. That's just numbers.
I think around the 3-day mark, you'll see carnivores recommend to ease into it a little bit more. And he's cracking himself up. And I know one of the things they say is bone broth when you ease back in.
Oh. Okay.
But test it for yourself. I mean, again, for me, I have not had a problem, but you may want to ease in after a 2-day fast.
Alan says steaks are always on sale in Texas.
Oh.
Well, we're a ways from Texas. You have a beef raising. Well, they're not your friend, but your friends work there at the farm.
Yes.
And they're saying it's hard to get calves right now.
Yeah, I do. I have my best friend here in Wisconsin. Her sons have worked on the farm for years, and I was just talking about our interview with him yesterday, and he was saying, that the calves they're having a hard time getting calves, and that the expense is really high. So Amanda will talk more about this, but they buy their calves weaned, and they're having a hard time getting those weaned calves so that they can take it from young cow to market, basically. And the margin for them is very low right now.
So I'm looking at our list and thinking about what to segue to for going from cow prices. So the Dave Mack interview was quite interesting because of some of the comments, and I just wanted to we're going to do it. We're going to go into it.
Okay.
We had a comment recently on one of our videos.
Yes.
That is the second time this sentiment has come through. And I thought we could poll our viewers and people who are watching on replay what they think about this topic. And it is related to this. I'm going to share this. Can't take the laughter. Sorry, very aggravating. So, JJ?
Yes.
Can you give us a laugh?
No, laugh on command. I mean, I can give you a fake one.
Yeah, do it. That's not the laugh people want to hear.
No, it's not.
You just did it. So, if you detest JJ's laugh, well, why are you watching this? Because you know it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
But
9 times out of 10, it's going to happen.
But I didn't want JJ to feel bad. So I went through the comments on Dave Mack's video, and I screen captured a few, and let's see what people have to say. This is worth listening to just for her laugh.
Thank you.
Love her laugh.
Hey.
I love her laugh. It makes me feel happy.
Hey.
There it is. You just did it. Her Woody Woodpecker laugh is contagious.
Never heard that before.
Well,
But I get it.
You don't laugh like Woody Woodpecker. There you go.
Maybe that part gets it close.
Yeah, maybe it's the end of the Woody Woodpecker laugh. I wonder how many people watching even know who Woody Woodpecker is. I love her laugh. So I think that the love her laughs have beat the hate her laughs.
One said it was
soundly.
grating. Isn't that the other negative comment said it was grating, or was it? I don't. Or maybe it was accurate.
Yeah, there was another video we had done where someone commented on the laugh and was not happy about it. But the way I see it is, if you don't like somebody laughing, it says more about you than it does about JJ or me. I live with this, and so I'm so used to the laugh, I don't notice it anymore.
You notice when it's not happening.
That's right.
But I want to give you a little background. So I went to school for broadcast and electronic communication. That's what my bachelor's degree is in. So I did all sorts of reading copy, so commercials and all sorts of stuff as I was training and in my internships and even in some of my jobs. But the other thing I did was the news. And so, that was I got very stiff in my delivery on the news. And so when I started life coaching and teaching classes and doing trainings with life coaching, I still maintained sort of that dry newscaster thing in my earlier videos and my earlier classes. And then at some point, I partnered up with another coach who I happened to become friends with. And so there was just more rapport with us. We got to be really close, and there was a lot of laughter. And it was amazing because people in the life coaching community that I was teaching in were like, oh my gosh, I just love your laugh. You guys are so much fun. I love your laugh. And so I'd never even thought about my laugh ever. And people in that community liked it. But the thing is that I really learned, obviously if you're doing news, it's different, but I learned to really just be myself in those moments. It was like it got validated in that community to just be me. And like I said, we had a lot of fun teaching too. And so, even if you don't like my laugh, it's not going away. It's just not.
Well, we wouldn't want it to.
No.
Especially me, because if you're laughing, that means you're happy. And if you're happy, that means my life is great.
Yes. When I'm upset and done with the project, life not as great.
She doesn't laugh when she's not happy. Trust me, it's not for show.
No.
So anyway, it was fun to do these screenshots and just see the common thread pop up again, because for me it's just normal life to live with this amazing being.
And you've always I was already thinking about what I was going to say. You are, when you're feeling well, you're a funny guy and always have been, always have been.
Our daughter doesn't think so.
So anyway, I think early on we knew that our sense of humor were compatible and
pretty compatible.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of nice comments about your laugh. So let's look at them, because we're here to have our egos inflated. Ellen's saying, I'm like a little angel on your shoulder telling you to run away from lettuce.
Yes, yeah, you are.
And he also says, love the laughter. And Wealthy T says, the laughs are the best part.
Oh, thank you, Wealthy T.
See, this is great. We don't even need to bring content. We should stop doing all the pre-show work. Joyce says, totally agree. Love her laughter.
Thank you, Joyce.
Let's see. Elva is talking about the beef again. We're in Cowland here, but I bought some chuck roast from Walmart. The ingredients were beef and natural flavorings.
Interesting.
Alan points out, people say unhappy things because they are unhappy people. You were both so happy. We're actually going to talk about this in a second.
Yep.
Hope says, completely disagree. The laugh is awesome.
Thank you.
And Elva says, laughter is a sign of happiness. You continue to laugh, JJ. It brings joy to many of us.
Thank you, Elva.
Well,
Thank you,
really
everyone.
nice.
You've come to the right place. And again, if you don't like my laugh, it was nice meeting you. Goodbye.
Oh, Joss has piped in here. Love the laughs.
Yeah.
So you could mistake people who laugh a lot as being frivolous, simple, very surface level kind of lighthearted people, but that is not who I am. I was thinking about, recently I've been thinking a lot about how habitual thoughts kind of wear a rut in your mind. And so if the habitual thought, and I speak on this around my health anxiety, which I talked about on this channel and on Dave Mack's channel. is that when your mind keeps going over the same terrain, just like a cart will wear ruts in the road, those thoughts will just wear a rut in the road. And then it's very difficult for you to think different thoughts. And this is true of all of us who were very skeptical of carnivore, right?
Yeah.
In advance. Like, it's like, that sounds like stupid people doing stupid things for stupid reasons and avoiding all of the obvious science that everybody knows and your doctor will tell you. And you're just going to give yourself heart disease and cancer and all kinds of gut problems, and your kidneys will fail. And that kind of thinking is also worn a rut in the public's mind because it's habitual and it's received thinking, because most people have not actually done the research to go deep into hearing opposing views on it. And this is true of doctors. It's true of nutritionists and dietitians and even nutrition researchers. And so I've been thinking a lot about it because I'm one of these people who's kind of, the whole cholesterol issue came up during Dave Mack, and I'm like, I don't want to tell people what to do in terms of their cholesterol. I have to make a decision for myself, but I don't feel expert enough. And so I just back off. But that LDL fear has worn a very deep rut in my brain, and I'm very aware of it. But in general, I've been thinking about how can I intentionally create a diet of positive thoughts. And I'll let you go in a second. And one of the reasons this came up was because when I was preparing for today, I always search on Google for stupid articles about carnivore. And I found 2 of them, one of which we're going to look at. But the other one made me so mad. I'm like, I'm not bringing that to the channel. I'm not going to create recreational outrage today because I don't want it in my own brain.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is an interesting turn for you because I've been certified since 2008.
Certified what?
Certifiable. No, a certified life coach since 2008, which means I actually started my training in around 2006, I think it was. And I remember, and I was first coached around that time, 2005, 2006. And I remember having conversations with you about a lot of our job as a life coach is helping people create new grooves in their brain, retrain their brain. And I remember having lots of conversations with you about, but that just feels silly. Or I don't feel grateful. Why would you do gratitudes or whatever if I don't feel that way? So this is kind of a big deal to be like,
Well, it's another example of if I didn't think it up, it isn't true.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is stupid, but it's a habitual way of thinking.
Well, and I get it because as life coaches too, we aren't coached. Like if someone's not open, we don't try to keep going that same route. We're going to go a different route. If you're not open to that, we're going to go a different route. So, but it is interesting to me. There is the reticular activating system in the brain that actually filters the world based on your past experiences and your beliefs. So that because we can't possibly take in all of the input that's out there, so it automatically filters things. So there's like actually a biological thing that does this. It's not just a woo-woo type of thing.
That makes sense because if we're out in nature and we're looking for threats or we're looking for windfall food supplies, we're looking for prey or whatever it is, our minds are cued to find those things. But because we have a lot of free time, we get to think up a lot of worries, and then our mind begins looking for proof those worries are real.
Yes.
And sometimes they are.
Yes.
But often they're way overblown. And with me and with health anxiety, it is a complete haywire functioning of that system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you've dealt with that, my sympathies, and the way to deal with it is to Practice accepting the discomfort and uncertainty fully.
My sympathies too.
Yeah, because if you have to live with someone who's dealing with that, it's just as bad. If you're enjoying this video, please give us a like. Drops a comment in the chat. If you're watching on a replay, please leave a comment. Let us know where you're from, or if any of the things we've talked about have resonated with you. Of course, tell us about JJ's laugh, whether you love it or hate it. I will not banish your comment if you say she's got a horrible laugh. It reminds you of the witch from Wizard of Oz, and you think JJ should be banished from the internet. I will allow that, and I will allow our kind community to just let you have that opinion without attacking it. Speaking of which,
yes,
we have another fun comment.
Oh, yes.
That I'm going to put on blast. And it is this. Would you eat your pet? It's proven animal products cause a lot of bad health issues and early death. So Lou, who I'm guessing is not watching us right now, when I watched this, because I'm a contrarian, I actually started typing a response, and I'm like, no, I don't want to create the negative feedback loop, because my response was, I would absolutely eat any one of my pets if we were in a post-apocalyptic situation where there was no food and my family was starving. But I wouldn't just randomly say, you know what? I think we should have Lucky for dinner.
No.
But then the second half, it's proven animal products cause a lot of bad health issues and early death. Didn't warrant a response. Obviously, this is received information, an opinion that was assigned to this person, and it does not reflect any depth of research or
and many of us have been
education.
there.
Yeah.
Many of us have been there.
We know what it's like to think that. So I was amused because I'm always amused by what I perceive as stupid. I don't know what else to say. Oh, let's see.
No, well, was it what? I mean, obviously there's the research part, but it was the pet part that really got you, right? It's not it wasn't as much about the research.
It's like I don't see cows as pets, but many people do love them.
Yeah.
While they have them, and then like 4-H kids will have their cow. It has a name. They have a rapport with it. They love it, but they know it's going to become dinner at some point.
We had one 4-H kid in our theater group, and every year he would raise rabbits, and his parents would warn us that it was time to harvest the rabbits because he would be pretty broken up that day. But I guess you just learn about the circle of life.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's like a senior in high school now. He's over it. He's okay. He's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's great to have compassion and empathy. You want that in people who are raising our animals.
Yes, absolutely.
Hope says, always leave your videos smiling. Both of you are awesome. I love your honesty. And Karen gives us the happy face. And that's Karen is usually a woman of few words and one strong, powerful emoji. And so I love it when I see that pop up. Esther, hi from New York. I love you guys. Hi, Esther.
Hello, Esther. Hello.
Did you know that there's actually more dairy produced in New York than in Wisconsin? Probably in New Jersey as well, but I think California actually has the most dairy.
Yeah, I don't know how. I think it is California, and I'm not sure why exactly we have that designation, but we have it, and we always have. I will tell you, it's different now. I went to college in Minneapolis for a year, and this would have been around 1990. And it's not that, here's Wisconsin, here's Minneapolis. Like, they're right next to each other over the river. And they did not have the cheese selection back then. I'm sure now it's different. They did not have the cheese selection that we have. So I went up there and was like, unable to find my cheeses. And they also did not have frozen custard at that time, which again, I think Culver's is probably over there. That's a fast food joint or short order joint that specializes in
Stop triggering our audience into wanting Culver's.
Oh, true. Yeah.
You can have the burger patties.
Yeah, which are good. We like them. But yeah, so it was actually quite remarkable to me to be from the dairy state
Yeah.
where that's just a way of life, and just over the river, over the Mississippi, not so much back then.
We do not wear cheese hats in this house.
No, we do not. We don't own one. I don't know if one has ever been on my head.
We got a question here. Did you already talk about this lovely cow behind you?
I don't think we ever
We've
have.
never talked about it. We will be talking about it on Sunday in the interview with Amanda Radke coming up.
Yeah.
If you've missed that discussion, we ask her about this cow, as a matter of fact.
Yes, we do.
But we can tell you something about this artwork.
Yes, that my daughter is 20 now.
She's my
and
daughter too.
She is. She's ours. Boy, is she an interesting mix of the two of us. And she is very artistic. And so she made this her senior year of high school. It's one of those scratch art things where she laid the gradient underneath and then put black over it and did scratch art with it. And it was in our, state fair. And it took second place in her division at state fair.
It was rigged.
So it is by our daughter, and it's.
Let me tell you, the state fairs, they're the most corrupt judges that there are. And if you don't know the judges, you can't win first.
Yeah, our daughter was doing the old payola behind the scenes there.
But we asked, because we didn't know, is this a dairy cow or a beef cow? And we were told on good authority that this is a beef cow. So we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Alan says, I grew up on a ranch and was very attached to our animals. Yes, we ate the chickens, rabbits, lambs, calves, pigs. We used to name them, play with them. They provided for our family. Yeah. Very similar. My dad grew up on, it was a small farm, and my dad always had a soft spot for animals.
Oh, yeah.
And, but he didn't see them as people. That was the difference.
Yeah, that is the difference. Now, my grandma grew up on the farm, and she did not actually she didn't see animals as pets.
No.
Norma.
No, your grandma wouldn't have seen. She barely saw her children as humans. That's not true. It's totally fake. 100% lie.
No, she was a very strong woman, not very emotional. But yeah, they had, I know of one dog, and obviously she cared for it, but it was really my grandpa's dog. She didn't see it much as a pet.
All right, I want to go to an article, and let's see if I can get this to come up.
But you brought up a good point, and Alan sort of, falls into that. My grandma, not so much. You do want the people who are tending to the animals to be compassionate and kind and good people, and to treat those animals well so that they do have a good life and an equally humane and purposeful demise.
So this was an article in, what is it called? The AAP, which is some Australian news site. And they have a fact check. Advocates of the carnivore diet claim one of its major benefits is that it prevents sunburn. This is false.
Period.
Dermatology experts say there is no evidence that a carnivore diet can prevent sunburn. So they went to dermatology experts who aren't carnivore, never met a carnivore, don't know a carnivore, and those experts were happy to say that it is impossible for this to be the case. And I understand why they would say that, because it feels like it's impossible to be true. But apparently they found that a Dr. Chafee post, it's previously debunked Chafee's claim that most of our history, humans have exclusively eaten meat. I'm not going to click the debunk, because I think that this debunk has already self-debunked itself, because those of us who've enjoyed this benefit continue to enjoy it. Or as I said in a tweet earlier this week, sorry, but researchers say your benefits aren't real. Okay.
But you were skeptical about this.
I was very skeptical. There's lots of experts coming in here, but I love this one. A diet that is rich in fruits and vegetables will supply the skin with antioxidants that helps protect the skin from UV rays. But this is not a substitute for sunscreen and other sun protecting measures, Dr. Ferris said. So I love that they tried to spin it that plants can help you with your skin protection. Yeah, I don't think that is supported by anybody's N of 1 experiment. So their verdict, false, the claim is inaccurate, is itself false and inaccurate.
Well, I think you've seen the biggest benefit here with you used to burn quite readily.
Yeah.
And you were skeptical, and you've seen a difference in that.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. I didn't burn as much, so I'm not ready to claim that benefit. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But what I do know, and this is always sort of stuck in my head, when I was a kid, I never burned. We didn't wear Did your parents slather you with sunscreen when you were a kid?
No, they didn't own any sunscreen.
No. The only people who were using anything on their skin were using like tanning oil.
To make it more intense.
Yeah, back in the 70s, like earlier, mid-70s at least. And so I would play outside all summer as a kid, and I never got burned at all. So this has always been in my head. I'm like, why does that change? Like, why does that change? And I think it's because we get more deranged.
Oh, yeah. Our whole bodies get more deranged.
Our whole bodies. And I mean, obviously, there are some fair-skinned people. I think there's ancestry at play, too.
Of course.
I mean, if you are living way in the north, your ancestors come way in the north, there's not as much sun exposure for generations.
Yeah.
And the melanin's going to change. So I'm not disputing that. If you're a fair-haired, fair-freckled person.
Redheaded Scotsman.
Yeah.
That will burn instantly.
So I'm not saying that. But I do think, there's been, for me, a change as I've aged. And I think it's the system just getting more and more out of whack as I went on.
I know a lot of people will say it could be the seed oils as well.
Yep, it could be.
So when you go carnivore, those necessarily are out of the diet as well.
Which we didn't have when we were kids.
No.
A whole lot. There was Crisco.
Except for Crisco. My mom because she was trying to be healthy, she didn't want to use lard, so she used Crisco, which is, an industrial byproduct.
Yeah, and my mom didn't really bake at that time.
It was the secret ingredient to her chocolate chip cookies.
We have tried in the past, not recently, to redo her cookies, and you cannot do it without Crisco. And we tried I tried palm oil. I tried all different things, and it needs Crisco to get that same chew.
So speaking of Scotsman.
Oh, yes. Oh, beautiful.
JJ she reads pretty voraciously.
Before bed, that's not, yeah.
And she started a series, and she got to book 7. And what did you find?
So this is the Witches of Scotland series.
I'll pop this up here.
And it is the Dream Dancers Akashic Chronicles. So anyway, I've always had I have a little bit of woo in me. I like witches and Wiccan, and like this was hitting a sweet spot for me of all different things coming together. And this is independently published. And so the author, Stephen, and I do not know how to pronounce his Scottish last name, even though I am quite Scottish as well.
Aitchison, probably.
Is it just Aitchison?
Looks like it to me.
Can you do it with a brogue?
I cannot.
Oh, okay. Darn. Oh, and Scotland, we all know about what we call the Lusty Laird.
Yeah.
The Outlander books and stuff. Yeah, love them. So Scottish too. I'm like there. So anyway, I get to book 7, and because it's a pretty quick read here, and all of a sudden, I won't give anything away, but one of the witches is like in this special training academy to like up her powers, and she's a very powerful witch anyway. And it says, Jessica felt a tingle in her stomach and wondered if all the students felt like this or if it was just her. Not that she cared. She was loving this. Jessica opted to have her first 2 meals at 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. So right there, I'm a faster. So I'm like, oh, and I do 2 meals a day. I'm like, where's this going? For the last few days, she had thought about whether to cut her meals down to 1 per day. Whilst up here at the academy, she had already tried fasting. At first, she had fasted for 1 day. Later, she had tried a fast of 3 days. She tried a 5-day fast, but she buckled on day 4, which I kind of love that he had her fail too. She would stick to a 3-day fast every month and maybe cut down to 1 meat-based meal per day soon. 1 meat-based meal. She discovered that she was addicted to carbs and sugar. For the first 2 weeks at the academy, she had shown withdrawal symptoms such as headaches, fatigue, and brain fog, and her sleep was a little disturbed. Now she had abundant energy all day, no brain fog, and her sleep was better than ever. Another side effect of no sugar and carbs was that her memory had improved despite already having what she considered an excellent memory. Other little health things that had disappeared were her aches and pains, and she's like in her early 20s. Oh, here, which was strange as she was only 22, but she didn't realize just how much her joints, particularly her fingers, ached. Her skin looked great too, and with no adult acne or blemishes that she had been prone to. Now she felt superhuman. Perhaps the biggest for Jessica was the weight loss. Looking in the mirror, she liked what she saw staring back at her. That had never happened back on Earth. Despite all her friends and family telling her she looked slim and great, she hated looking in the mirror. Now she felt she looked great and was in the best shape of her life, and it was all down to what she ate. She had never fully realized the saying, "You are what you eat," until now.
So Stephen Aitchison must be a carnivore,
Yes.
or at least knows one very, very closely.
Yes. Maybe we should reach out to him. And,
We should, yeah.
We'll hear about your books, but we also want to hear about your diet.
Yeah. So you have this series, The Witches of Scotland. Don't care about that. Tell us about your diet. Oh, that would be so typical.
This was, again, a funny name. It was such a great cookie or Easter egg for me.
Yeah.
Easter egg maybe is better. Easter egg for me that was like, holy cow. Like, I'm already loving a lot of the other stuff. And
But that's got to be the first you've seen carnivore in fiction.
absolutely.
That's funny.
Absolutely.
All right. We have, let's see here. Denise. Hi from Lafarge, Wisconsin. I don't know where that is.
I don't either.
Tell us where that is compared to like Madison, Milwaukee, Eau Claire, something like that we might have a reference point. But is the weather beautiful there? Because today it's sensational. Christina says, how do you just start when life is so stressful and you are addicted to sweets?
You're the sweet. I'm interested in what you have to say.
Um,
Well, let me start. I'll let him think. See, I just took it away. For me, it really started with what we talked about earlier about retraining your brain. And so I spent about 2-3 weeks. I don't know exactly because I don't log everything I don't keep a daily diary like you do. But I spent about 2 or 3 weeks watching carnivore videos. Binge berry to build beliefs and really getting my mind in line before I took the step into carnivore. So I can tell you from that point, it's, again, really start to get where you're just bringing more and more content into your mind to basically recondition yourself.
Well, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you started with intermittent fasting first.
I did start with fasting first. And for me personally, it's not something I recommend. I know actually, I think Dr. Berry recommends, many of them, the experts recommend the opposite. For me, that gave me a little bit of food freedom. So I started with an 8-hour eating window, moved to a 6-hour eating window, which is my usual, and still. And that started to break my snacking habit. And there was just an on-off switch. So when my window was closed, there's no more eating. And so for me, that created food freedom, meaning that I didn't think about food as much. And when I was on the no switch, no food, I discovered how easy that was. Because I tend to be a moderator. So I was like, yeah, just eat balanced. No big deal. Have a cookie, walk away.
Mm.
So for me, that worked really well. I did not know how much I was snacking till I was fasting. But again, that gave me a little space between me and food, started to change my relationship with food, and gave me that food freedom where it wasn't on my mind as much. So that helped me feel like, okay, if I have an on-off switch for this, I can probably have an on-off switch for other foods.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of moved me naturally into this space. But you are not a moderator. You had quite a heavy sweet tooth.
Yeah, pretty much because I was raised on Pop-Tarts as a breakfast food.
Mm-hmm.
And I would eat Hostess cupcakes after school. I would eat the whole box. And I would eat them in one bite.
One cupcake, one bite.
Yeah, and a slurp of milk. This is one of those things where I had to recruit some emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that was a little bit of anger and sort of a loss of patience with myself. But you can't maintain something long-term using those emotions. But it can give you enough starting power to say, you know what, I'm changing this. And you kind of I put trust. I don't want to say what you have to do. I put trust in binging Dr. Berry to build belief and just getting the message in my mind that the sugar cravings would reduce a week or two into doing carnivore. And it was true, except I very quickly added back artificial sweetener in the form of soft drinks mostly. And that did hold me back, and it kept the sweet monster kind of alive. I've since gotten rid of those. And I was just telling you yesterday, I'm not having carb cravings. I was a couple weeks ago because I had done a tightening down of my diet and got rid of the artificial sweeteners again. But I would not have believed that I wouldn't want to go grab one of my favorite sweet things just automatically. But I don't. The satiety, actually, I'm not hungry very frequently.
Yeah.
Really. This morning I had to wait. I'm like, I'm not hungry. I'm not going to eat until I'm hungry. So I would say that it is a little bit of chicken and egg, because if life is stressful and you're addicted, and the benefits of carnivore let you buffer more stress without feeling overwhelmed by it and reduce or eliminate your sweet addiction, it feels like, well, I want the benefit so that I can start it, but you can't get the benefit until you start it. So there is a certain amount of leap of faith and trust. Yeah. And that's why doing a challenge is so powerful. If you can do a 30-day challenge, that will give you the emotional horsepower to get through those early temptation days, because you're committing for a limited period of time. And once you get to that 30 days, it's very likely then you'll say, hey, I'm going to continue this. Why would I go back to the old way?
Yeah. And for me as well, I found that early on, keeping it very simple, not worrying about macros or fat or even what meat you're eating. I know you went to triple B&E.
Yeah.
Beef, butter, bacon, eggs right away. I did not. So I was eating chicken or pork or whatever else was that I wanted. And having those convenience foods in the fridge, salami, pepperoni, beef sticks, hard-boiled eggs, so that when I did feel I needed something, I had something on hand. And Topo Chico, my favorite mineral water, basically, bubbly seltzer mineral water. But I had a lot of that type of thing on hand, so that when I had, even though I was more of a moderator, cravings happened. And so I did have something to grab, and I didn't limit that at first. It was really just making it as simple as possible for me.
So, Christina, we wish you the best of luck.
Yes.
We hope you come back and tell us how things are going if you decide to jump in and get started. I do not think you will regret it. The sweets are always available. They're always there. You can always go back to them.
And that's another thing is I've never said I'm never eating that again. Yeah.
Lainey, happy Saturday morning from Australia.
Oh.
Wow. Well, I guess we should say good day. It's almost lunchtime here.
It is. Yes.
But it's amazing to be able to reach around the world with our faces and your laugh.
Yes. Who knew?
Denise says that, was it Lafarge is 2 hours west of Madison. Cool, wonderful weather. That's got to be not too far from Spring Green then.
Yeah.
And the American Players Theater that we used to go to occasionally.
Yeah, there's not a lot of hotel action out that direction, or we'd probably go to the theater more often. But just that is gorgeous country over there.
Yeah, that's
wow. Beautiful.
Okay, we're getting close to wrapping up, but it came up during one of the comments on Dave Mack's video about a shirt idea, and I mocked up the shirt idea, and I didn't like how it looked, but that got me thinking, hey, let me mock up some shirt ideas and get the feedback from viewers. We are making no commitment to ever doing any t-shirts, but if we did, here's some ideas we came up with. So let me
just a couple, because we know, salad is toxic and so forth too.
I'll start with the last idea I had, which I didn't.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that one.
Yeah. So here we have beef based, which is kind of a play on JJ's meat based t-shirt, except for this has a beautiful Black Angus cow on the front. And then we have, oh, wait a minute. I got to switch.
Ah, there it is.
I heart tasty vegetarian.
You could see Eric's personality in these last two.
A little bit of my dark side. And then the final one was eat your vegetarians. So if you like any of those ideas, let us know in the chat or in the comments on the replay. Again, we're making no guarantees we'll ever do any merch, but we may like to do this someday. I kind of want this shirt, so I might just do it so I can buy one.
Well, that's how it started. He's like, where did you get your shirt, your meat-based shirt? And I told him, and then he started thinking of what he wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I need more carnivore-related
You have none.
Clothing. Well, I have zero.
So.
And I thought about maybe we should use the cow behind us, but I was like, I don't know how that would translate to a shirt. And I don't want to pay my daughter any licensing fees unless she's going to eat carnivore. So
that could be the deal.
I doubt it.
No.
So I think that's it. Again, we have a video coming out on Sunday, our interview with Amanda Radke, the 11+ years carnivore and cattle rancher. And we will be back again on next Wednesday with new content, and we'll be back live next Friday.
Yes.
So we wish you all the best. It's not the years, it's the carbs. You can tell everybody that. So aging is not required. Well, not at the rate everybody is aging. Do you have anything to say?
No.
All right, we're going to take off. Bye-bye.
Bye.